Well, that was a makeshift Manchester United team due to the injuries. Like, gents, you were mentioning it as well. We saw the likes of McTominay and Pereira. How would you rate the youngsters in Manchester United now?
I think they've got some exceptional youngsters. When you look at Gomez and Chong coming through, they are players that United have earmarked for future game time at United. I think they think they're big stars in the making. Ollie has obviously worked in the youth system before. Kieran McKenna, who is also one of the coaches who's been promoted from the academy to come through, he'll know them players inside out. He'll know how they can handle the occasion of playing for Manchester United in big games. The big worry for Manchester United is Rashford, how much more damage he's done to that ankle, because they need him to play. Yes, they've got Lukaku, but you also need Rashford's pace, because that's the way that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has set up Manchester United to play.
And, you know, and we're talking about youngsters and opportunities here. And I'm also thinking about a very experienced player who came on, and that's Sanchez. You know, maybe it's opportunity time for him and to deliver. But I love the way that Solskjaer said, we'll have 11 on the pitch in our next game, midweek, away at Crystal Palace. No problem. I think his words were, it's going to be no problem. And that goes a long way, that attitude of confidence. You know, he trusts, he believes, and that leads to success.
When you look at the squad now, the youngsters will be either at the game or watching it at home, listening to his words, thinking, I've got an opportunity here, and he believes in me. Also, it sends a message to the manager of the team that they're playing in the next couple of weeks to say, we don't fear anyone. And that's the old Manchester United that we expected under Sir Alex Ferguson, and now he's trying to bring that mentality into them as well.
Okay. Let's talk about Alexis Sanchez for a bit. Today, his performance, do you think that he, proved a point? And how much longer or how much time will the manager give him to step up before he's out the door?
When you look at Alexis Sanchez, he was at Udinese, and he was the biggest player at Udinese. So he loved it, he thrived under it. Went to Barcelona, suddenly he's in the shadow of Messi, didn't really enjoy it. Goes to Arsenal, he's the big fish again, he's the main man, thrives under it. Goes to United, and suddenly it's again, he's a small fish in the big pond, and you're thinking, can he step up now and really cement his place in United history and be a great of them? Today, I thought he did the simple things well. He's always going to switch off defensively because that's his way. He always thinks offensively and wants to go forward. But he has to get back to basics, and he did that well today. In midweek against Paris Saint-Germain, he came on, he struggled every time he got the ball. And you're thinking, this is a player who's an international, played at the highest level and struggling to retain the ball. Whereas today, I thought he did it very well.
Yeah, I think from his perspective, he can see or use today's performance as a step in the right direction. He doesn't look fit enough to me at the moment.
But he's not playing, is he?
Well, exactly. If you don't get the minutes in, it's very difficult. So it's that chicken and the egg one, isn't it? Which comes first? And yeah, I guess he's desperate for a run in the team. And I think that's what all players need. You need a run in the team because that tells you that your opportunities medium term. It tells you that the manager believes in you. And you build on that. And with all the injury problems that appear to be there at Old Trafford at the moment, maybe that run of games is coming his way now.
Well, there can't be any arguments if he does get a run of 5 to 10 games, can there? That he hasn't had an opportunity to prove his worth now. He could be the big player for them from now until the end of the season because he has to be.
But he hasn't proved his worth in the moments that they have played him. He's not lived up to the hype that was Alexis Sanchez when he first signed for Manchester United. Why is it that managers cannot get the best out of it? Mourinho didn't. Ole doesn't seem to be really doing it as well.
I think it comes down to, again, just playing games. It's game time when you get that game time. But when you're at Manchester United, you've got to be an 8 or a 9 out of 10 every single game. As soon as your form dips a little bit, you've got someone behind who's knocking on the manager's door saying, I want to be playing now. That's my opportunity. I need to play. Also, your standards in training have to be really high. You've got to be on your best every single day. We don't see how he trains. We don't see what he's like. He's also picked up a lot of injuries while he's been at Manchester United as well. He's not really had many breaks over the summer because of his success for Chile, playing in competitions for them. So he had a little bit of a break in this summer, but it's not really helped him.
Yeah, and you know, a lot of people will reference back to the apparently huge salary he's on as well. And again, I don't think with players it's a conscious decision, but maybe he's, I don't know, almost taken his foot off the gas a little bit because, you know, I think he was financially secure for life anyway, but now he's doubly financially secure, isn't he? Yeah. You know, it's an astronomical salary that he's supposedly on, and I don't know, maybe that's affected him a little bit. Who knows? The hunger isn't, you know, because, you know, you talk about, you know, he's always looking to go forward, and you know, I saw him at Arsenal Football Club as being somebody who was always very happy to do the graft back as well. So he's got it. He's got it in his locker, so to speak.
Yeah.
He really has.
But speaking of the moments that he was at Arsenal, one of the key differences, would you think, is also the confidence? Because when you look at him, during his time at Arsenal, when he faces defenders, he'll go ahead. But at this moment, it just kind of seems like when he comes to that point to make a decision, he just passes the ball along.
It's one of the hardest things as a player, to build confidence. How do you get it? You can't just go out and buy it.
No.
People don't just give you it and go, yeah, there you go, you're better now, and that's you.
Sure.
You've got to build it yourself, and you've got to try and do it on the pitch. When he's trying it at Manchester United at the moment, the crowd are on his back. So if he tries to take someone on, it doesn't come off. It's like, oh, here we go again. Yeah. So it knocks his confidence even more. And that's the difficult thing, to try and get out that habit. Sometimes you've got to try and beat a man, you beat him, the crowd get a little bit excited, you try it again, you get past him again, you get even more excited, and suddenly your confidence just starts to grow slowly. That's why I said earlier on about he did the simple things well today. Just little things like finding passes. They can often be the hardest things to do when your confidence is very low.
Yeah, you've got to build that base, that platform to start with. You know, if the foundations aren't there, you're not going to go very high, is the honest truth of it. And as I said earlier, I think maybe today's performance was a step in the right direction. It's a start to building that platform on which he can build further and get back to... There's no doubt about it. He's a talent. Yeah. He's an asset for a club when he's, you know, on top of his game.
When he was at Arsenal as well, I think when you look at it, sometimes the players around him suited him. Like Ozil would always find space for him. He would always find him in areas. And Giroud was a great focal point to bounce off all the time. Lukaku's not that type of player. He doesn't want to bounce the ball off him. He's not technically as sound as that. Rashford wants to run in behind every single time, so he doesn't have that option to play a bounce pass off him. And that's where he needs to sort of think about his game now and work it out and keep on improving.
But Gary, you did say he is on a big paycheck. So if you were the manager, if you were Ed Woodward, would you let him go if he obviously is not performing?
Well, you know, the power mainly in football now rests with the player. So yes, by all accounts, he's on a huge salary. I believe he's got a number of years left on his contract there. So as a player, you have the right to stay at that club and remain on your contract. So if Manchester United did want to move him on, well, the player doesn't have to go. You know, is he going to go somewhere else and take a big drop in salary?
I was going to say, that's
quite
the big
possibly
thing,
not.
That's the big decision.
So that's the difficult position that maybe Manchester United have put themselves in by paying him a king's ransom and giving him a long contract.
But to repeat Reem's question, would you keep him?
Yeah, I would get the best out of him, because that is the head coach's job. That's Solskjaer's job.
But if he doesn't get to that level come summer, would you let him go then?
I believe that he's a much better player than we've seen at Manchester United. I believe that a good coach, a good man manager, will get more out of him than Mourinho got out of him. I would keep him.
Yeah, I think as well, if it is going to be Solskjaer who gets the job, I'd try and get the best out of him, especially now with the period that he's going to get game time until the summer. I'd be sitting down with him, talking to him, saying, you're on your last opportunity. When you come back, I want you coming back fully fit, ready for pre-season. Yeah. I want you firing on all cylinders and proving your worth here. And then, if he doesn't prove that up until January you have to think about it. But who is going to pay his wages if he's not playing at Manchester United?
There's a big question mark there.
Yeah. All right, gents.